What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Patio. My name's Jake. You're watching Rum and Cook. If you're new here, we drink rum and coke and grill things. Except for today, we've got water. It's before noon. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We do new videos every weekend. Love to see you as part of the community. And if you've got suggestions for future videos, please drop down those comments below. Doing lots of things coming up. Today, we're talking about pellet grills. Grilling season is here. There's a lot of different options out there. You've got Kamado grills, you've got gas grills, and you've got pellet grills, and you can't bring them all home to try them. So today I'm going to help you decide whether or not a pellet grill is right for you. We're going to talk about some pros, we're going to talk about some cons, I'm going to give you some tips, and we'll talk a little bit about brands. So let's get into pros. The number one pro is ease of use, right? These things are very, very easy to use. Whether you're an experienced griller or smoker or you're brand new to the market, you can buy one of these and grill great product out of the gate, right? Your neighbors will love you. You'll be able to do some smoked ribs, some briskets, things like that. You can do that very, very well, and you don't need a lot of experience, right? It's very intuitive. And the other great thing about it is that you can go watch a video from some other smoking channel, whether it be a Kamado style grill, a stick burner, and even other pellet grills. But what it comes down to is you just got to learn your temperatures, right? If you're grilling chicken, it's done at 165, right? Steak's the same thing, no matter what you cook it on. If you're doing a brisket, right, you're probably going to smoke it to 165-ish. Then you might wrap it, and then you're going to cook it to 203, 204, 205. Depending on what your goal is, you're going to check out the tenderness of the meat and call it a day, right? So you can take something from another grill product and do it on this. But the benefit here is that you don't have to babysit it, right? You essentially turn it on, you set your temperature, you put a meat probe in, you set the temperature of that, and you can monitor that from your phone. So very easy to use there. The second benefit of one of these is that there's no direct flame contact unless you're in searing mode, right? So essentially what we've got is on this side, we've got a firebox, then we've got a diffuser panel, and then we've got a fan. So we take pellets, right? We've got some pellets in our hopper here. In this particular unit, we've got a firebox here. Our temperature's going, the fire's going, the technology in the grill, if it's low in temperature, it pumps in more pellets. If it's too high, it stops pumping pellets, right? And then we've got a fan, and the fan circulates that heat all the way around. The flame's not hitting your meat. Think of it more like a convection oven. So the benefit there is that you don't have to worry about flare-ups or anything like that. I use this a lot during the week. I like boneless, skinless chicken breasts. A lot of people will say they're dry and they're terrible, blah, 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 got no flavor. I'll marinate them in the morning, or my wife will do them sometime towards dinner before I get home. And I'll come out, turn this guy up, and turn it up to 450, 475, 12 minutes aside, and they're done. And I'm inside relaxing. I don't have to worry about a flare up. You're going to get some grill marks because you've got some heat, and you're going to get some nice texture on the outside of the chicken, but it's not going to burn because there's not a flame hitting the meat. So that's another benefit of them. Another benefit is just if you're a beginner, the intimidation level on something like this is very, very low, right? There's all kinds of recipes out there, and whether you're trying to just grill or you're trying to smoke, right? I talked about it previously. You use your temperatures and away you go, and you let the grill do its work. So, it can be very intimidating to do a pork shoulder or a brisket or buy some expensive piece of meat, throw it on here for 6 hours or 12 hours, 15 hours, whatever it is. And if it turns out terrible, you're not happy, right? You waste your money on the meat and you waste your time on the cook. Something like this makes it a lot easier to pull off you know, a great rack of ribs, right? Pulled pork from a pork butt or pork shoulder, very easy to do on something like this. I did a video where I do a French dip in here, and I love French dip. But essentially, took a big whole ribeye, not a whole one, but you know, 4 or 5 pound ribeye, stuck it in here with some au jus and smoked it, sliced it up. It's delicious, right? You can pull off some great things without having, you know, 10 years of smoking background and education, just trial and error. And at the end of the day, cooking is trial and error, unless you're, you know, classically trained or something like that. But you know, this is very easy to use if you're new to the smoking world and you just want to get your feet wet, and you know, maybe you're add on some other products down the road, or maybe you just be happy with this and that'll be it. Another benefit of these guys is the tech, right? You've got some great technology. You set your temperature, you start it, and you set your pit probe, and now I can see that on my phone. So I can see exactly where I'm at from inside, relaxing. Let's say you've got some company coming over for dinner and you need to speed it up, right? I go on my phone, I'm like, set the 350, let me turn it up to 400 and speed up the cooking time without having to come out to do that. So it's got some great technology there that you can leverage, and that's nice, right? You're not really gonna get that in other grills. That leads me to some of the cons, right? There's always cons. First con, I would say, lack of smoke flavor, right? Pellet grills are not known to have amazing smoke flavor. It's just the nature of the beast, right? We pulled out some pellets here. We've got some contest blend. You can get mesquite, hickory, pecan, oak, cherry, apple. There's all kinds of different flavors, but they're not known to put out a huge volume of smoke, right? So we've got a fan, we do get some smoke, but it's blowing it through the chamber and the smoke's leaving. It's not staying in there like a Kamado style grill. And you know, on a Kamado style grill, we've got our lump as our fuel source, and you can throw on extra pieces of wood if you want more smoke into your meat. This just doesn't have that. So if your spouse is not really into heavy smoked food, this is perfect, right? Maybe you don't like heavy smoked food. This is good. Like if you do a slow, long smoke, you're gonna get some good smoke in here. You're gonna get a nice smoke ring, but you're just not gonna have that you know, true barbecue smoke flavor. And you know, that's really to each his own. You know, I've cooked some great ribs on here. I've been very happy with them. But if I want a true smoked rib or true smoked chicken, I'm gonna go to my Kamado style grill. I just know that it can put more smoke into it, and sometimes I really want more smoke. So you know, that's something to be aware of. And you know, the second one I would say is on the other edge of the spectrum is a little bit of lack of grill flavor, right? You don't have charcoal that you're burning or anything like that, and because unless you're using the sear mode, which we'll talk about in a second, right, you're using convection wood-fired air to cook your meat. So in most cases, it's closer to an oven than it is a grill, right? Even on my gas grill, if I'm cooking burgers or something like that, you know, you're over fire the whole time. You're getting some great sear marks on there, and getting a great crust on the outside of that. You can get this, but it doesn't quite have the same flavor as traditional grilling. It's good, don't get me wrong. Like I use this a lot during the week. When you know, for me, it's really about not wanting to come home late and have to fire up something that takes a long time to start and then have to babysit it. This is just ease of use. I do love it for that. Another con about it is the temperatures, right? So when you look at one of these guys, and this isn't a con, like a major con, you just need to be aware of it. But we've got two different levels here, right? At the bottom, we've got our diffuser level, and up here, we're further away from our heat source. So if you were doing 2 briskets or 2 pork shoulders or something like that, and you had one down here and one up here, you're gonna have to rotate them halfway through, right? Because this up here is going to be a lot cooler than down here. You just have to be aware of that. Another con is that this is going to take longer to cook than other style smokers, especially a Kamado style grill, right? Kamados, they are made out of some type of ceramic material, and that lid soaks in the heat. And what happens there is it takes all that heat energy and it directs it down at the meat. There's also not as much moving air in there, so it retains heat, and that piece of meat is getting heat from all directions, and it's a constant hot temperature. This one's using hot air to cook. And you know, the Yoder, we're made out of 10 gauge steel here. Yes, it gets hot and it's gonna, you know, give a little bit of energy back into the meat, but not like a Kamado style grill. So is it a con? It's in the con category, just so that you're aware. But you know, I wouldn't say it's a make or break thing. You just have to be aware that it's going to take a little bit longer. And if you haven't had the other one, you're not going to know anyhow. But at the end of the day, what you do is you just cook the temperature, and it will take a little bit longer. No big deal. That's really kind of all the cons about it. Let's get into some tips. I would say that you know, the number one tip about this is that if you're looking for that smoke flavor, low and slow is the way to go, right? I'm wearing 225 for a very specific reason today. Two things you can do. Dial down your temperature. You want to make sure that it's low. The lower that temperature is, the more smoke that the pellets are going to produce. And then you want to put your meat in the top rack, and that way obviously heat rises and the smoke's going to rise, and you're going to maximize the amount of smoke over your meat. And we've got a stack here, so all the air, all the smoke in this entire chamber is going to go over your meat and out the stack. Now the one thing to be aware of there is that this one end is going to be hot, right? Because there's a lot of hot air, so you might want to rotate your meat halfway through, because it might dry out a little bit just because there's more airflow there. But you know, if you do a low temperature and you cook it long and you put it on the top rack, you can get a nice smoke ring, and you can get some good smoke flavor in there. So you know, I would look, definitely, if you want to get some smoke flavor, that's the way to do that. Another way, I use this in my pork chop video, right? This is a smoking tube. You put pellets in it, you take a torch and light it up, and what I did is I lit this up, I put it over here, I just turned the fan on, I didn't turn the unit on, and I put my pork chop up here, and I did a cold smoke. So smoked it for an hour or so, I can't remember, it might have been an hour and a half. And then we put it in the fridge, fired this guy up, and cooked it the rest of the way, and it had amazing smoke flavor. And you can do that with anything. You know, if you want to step up the smoke flavor in here, you can do a cold smoke, or you can just have this in there for some extra smoke, throw it there. Those things are 20 bucks. There's a link down below. Pick them up on Amazon. But they're a great tool. And even if you decide not to have a pellet grill and you go with a gas grill, those are a great tool to have, right? You can always add smoke flavor to it. So highly recommend you get one of those. Another tip about a pellet grill is quality of pellets matter, right? I've got Barbecue Delight here. That just happens to be the brand that I did a little bit of research on and went with. I learned later it happens to be the same brand that Yoder uses for all their testing and everything. But I bought this from @bbq.com. I buy my pellets from there, and you can get a half pallet or a full pallet. Buy them in bulk, and your prices get down to like, I don't know, 12, 13 bucks a bag or something like that. So depending on your shipping, obviously it's got to be freight shipped. So it depends where you are in relationship to them. But you know, find someone where you can buy a pallet of these, and you're going to save some money. And I would say another tip is, if I was to do it again and buy a pellet grill, I would only want one that has a searing option. And I talked about this a little earlier. This guy has got a door on the one side, and we can open up the firebox, and I can get flames, and I can cook directly over that. You can get grill grates on it, and you put them over there, and now we can do some high temperature searing. So that way you can still get, you can do a reverse sear on your steak. You can pull out the plate, put your grill grates on there, and you can get a nice sear to finish off your steak. So I would definitely only buy a brand that had that option. I owned Traegers, a couple of them, one like 10 years ago and one 2 years ago before I got this. And they cook some food very, very well, but they still can't sear. And to me, there's very few times where I'm cooking, chicken or something like that. I want to get some sear on it, right? Or even like steak. If you only had one grill, you need something that can smoke, cook, and sear, right? So for me personally, if I could only have one, I would definitely make sure that I had a sear option in it. Otherwise, I wouldn't own a pellet grill. You would take a pellet grill right off the table for me. In fact, when I bought my grills, I'll be doing a 2-year video on this soon, just a 2-year review on it. But when I kind of started looking at what I was going to put on my patio, at the time I had a Komodo Joe, then I added my Komodo Kamado, and I bought a gas grill. I already had a gas grill, but I upgraded to a Lynx, and I was done. I actually was not going to buy a pellet grill, but one of my coworkers bought one and was really happy with it. I'm like, dude, I've been down that path before. They're not for me. And then I started doing some research, and in 10 years they'd come a long way. Technology had changed, and I tried the Traeger, and again I was right back to where I started. The smoke level had improved, but I still couldn't sear on it. So I was like, there's no way. Then I started doing research, and I found the Yoder brand, and when they had the sear option, and it can go up to 600 degrees. When you put in the grill grates, they'll actually go over 700. Most pellet grills can go up to 500 degrees. This one can go up to 600. But that ability to sear when I want to sear, I definitely want that. And I think that's something that you should definitely consider. Let's talk a little bit about brands. There's lots of different brands out there. But for me personally, it comes down to the quality of the product, right? I don't want a stamped cheap product made in China. I want a heavy product that's going to last, and I want the ability to sear. And the two that really, in my opinion, kind of lead the pack on that is Yoder and Pits and Spits. Now, I have not used a Pits and Spits. I've read a fair amount about them. They look like a great product, but I can't say whether or not they're amazing or they're not. I've never used one, but they look like they're well built, and they've been around a long time, and they've got the ability to sear. And again, to me, if you're in the market to buy a grill and it's going to be a pellet grill, you want to be able to sear because you're going to want to be able to cook some things at higher temperatures. And who doesn't want to make burgers? Smoked burgers with no char marks on them are a little bit boring. So to me, I think that the searing option is really important. But is a pellet grill right for you? I can't answer that. You've got to weigh out the pros and cons. Can you do some great cooking on these? Absolutely. If I could only have one grill, I would only have my Komodo Kamado. Right? That's hands down. The quality of food in that, the versatility in that is completely different than any other product out there. So, that would be my choice. And I'll do a video on Komodo style grills. I'm going to do a video on gas grills. So those will be coming out in the next couple of weeks here. If you're in the market and you're not in a hurry and you still want to compare them, subscribe and check out those videos as they come out. But the pellet grill, lots of people are curious about them, so I did want to share one on that. And hopefully you've found some value out of this. If you have questions, you can email me. My email's in the description. It's down at the very, very bottom. or drop a comment below. I'm happy to help. I'm usually pretty quick. I work in IT, so when somebody emails me, I tend to email them back pretty quickly, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Or, you know, if you've seen another video of the Kamado or the links and you want to ask about that, feel free to. Again, I'll be doing a video on those here soon. But really, hopefully you found this video helpful. Thanks as always for watching, and enjoy your day. I'll see you soon.